Would you ever go back to Doordash? It's been a whole year since I quit, and the answer...
Even we go to America, would you not go to Doordash?
Even if we went back to America, would I not do Doordash? Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I would still not do it.
Why?
Why? That's a really good question, Malaya. Malaya is my 4-year-old and we're homeschooling. Maeva is my 1-year-old and she is also homeschooling, but it's a little bit different. Maeva, what are you doing with the camera? What are you doing? What are you doing with the camera? You're not going to break it, are you? Let's see, so Malaya is learning about jaguars and capybaras. Plantains, Malaya, it's kind of similar to a banana, but you have to cook them.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah?
I love that.
I think we eat them in Mexico sometimes.
Yes.
So Malaya goes through every week we do a new country and she has, this is her handwriting sheet. Colombia, crocodile, arepas, biodiversity, Bogota. Malaya takes this very, very seriously. Maeva, this is last week's Australia week. Maeva doesn't take it so seriously. She's just scribbling. So every week we go through a country, and last week we haven't printed the Colombia cards yet, but this is the last week's Australia cards that we print. That right there, Malaya, it looks similar in the photo, but it's much bigger actually. It's called a capybara.
What is a capybara?
This one is going to take sort of a day in my life, sort of vlog style, which is not something I've ever done before. So if you like it, make sure to hit the thumbs up to let me know. And if you don't like it, you can still hit the thumbs up, but just leave a comment below saying that you prefer the old style or whatever. You're not fun anymore. So, will I ever go back to doing Doordash? No. The first reason of many is that it really just doesn't align with my vision for my own life. Don't get me wrong, Doordash threw me a lifeline when I really needed it. And I mean really needed it. But I'm a traveler, I'm an entrepreneur. I was always going to use that money, that experience as a stepping stone to building something for myself. I'm just like most of you in that I never wanted to work for another person. I never wanted to have a 9-to-5 job. And I totally get that. I'm right there with you. But what happens is Doordash actually becomes its own kind of trap. You might not have a person staring over your shoulder telling you exactly what to do, but you do have an algorithm that's essentially deciding your fate. And at the same time, you don't really have anything that's contributing to your personal development nor your career development. You're not really an entrepreneur, and you don't have a career. In my vision of my life, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a traveler, I spend most of my time with my kids. I don't have to rely on being stuck in a job, but I also don't want to be trapped by Tony Zhu and be reliant on, you know, the kindness of his heart or whatever else you make of that relationship. Doordash is a stepping stone, a tool that I've leveraged to really kind of get exactly what I want. And it's not the vision by itself. It can't be. And I don't mean to judge, but it shouldn't be yours either. Just to let you in on a little bit of what I've been up to since that $12,000 video dropped, the first thing I did, I was ready to invest in my business. My family and I flew to Mexico. We sort of had this vision that we were going to continue traveling, we were going to move on to South America after Mexico, and we were just going to continue working with hotels. What ended up happening is I continued contributing to my stock media portfolio, which has helped me become financially independent now. But back then what we had imagined was we were going to continue traveling down to South America, continue with just working for hotels and just like traveling the world. But mentally it was actually harder than we thought because we were just kind of in Mexico just existing. As you get older, as you have kids, it's become so much more apparent how quickly time is passing you by. And while we were in Mexico, after about 4 months, we had something of a crisis. It was time to go to Colombia, but we didn't really know what our purpose was. I mean, we were sure giving the kids the time of their life, but is that really enough? I'm headed right now to my extremely overpriced gym. You guys will get to see every inch of it. This place is so expensive. For the whole family, it's like 8 or 9 times the price of the equivalent that I used to pay for in America. They're also like the only place around that has both an indoor and an outdoor pool, as well as the only place around with like an indoor kids area. And the weather sucks here, so what choice do we have? On one hand, it really feels like a ripoff, but on the other hand, they kind of know exactly what they have. I guess that's just business. At a certain point, it just kind of came to a head. We were about to leave Mexico, go down to Colombia, but we weren't sure if we were ready to commit to that, 5-year trip around the world. And so instead, we were like, either we do it now or we go back to London. Honestly, it was really hard to commit either way, so we actually ended up going back to Oregon first. It's a little bit more temporary. A few months later, I flew Deborah and the girls back to London, and I stayed for some photography work that I had there. I'm gonna stop talking now. We have enough money to last us a little while. We had planned on traveling the world, but my photography business is really dead. So if we do end up going back to London, everything is way more expensive than South America. So we're trying to think, what am I actually gonna do? I have some photography work in Oregon, so I stay there. When I send my girls off, I continue adding to my stock media portfolio, which my income from that is increasing, but it's still not enough to pay the bills. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for work. And we have all of these businesses on the back burner that are just like not going. We have these business ideas, but I don't know. It's a bit paralyzing when you have so many business ideas, even great ones, and you're just not sure how much time you can really afford to dedicate to them. Right around the new year, when I was still in Oregon, my wife and I decided, we said, we're gonna really give this YouTube thing a go. Maybe it will make up the difference between, whatever I'm making with stock, maybe not, but either way, it will give us the opportunity. And at the same time, we hired a whole bunch, like 10 virtual assistants, and started little assistants. We started training people to take on new clients, and those two things have really made the difference. And those other businesses, because of the increased labor that we have, we're able to put those other businesses on autopilot. So maybe there'll be something in 6 months from now or 3 months from now. Maybe they won't, but ultimately each business is like an investment, right? Since the beginning of this year, it's April now, it's the 4th month. We've really just been business building the whole time. We're hiring new people, we're training new people, we're scaling our existing businesses. It is pretty nice to have a hot tub to yourself. I don't know that I can adequately put it into words, but it's not a job. It was never supposed to be a job, and the people who treat it like a job are gonna get burned. So I'm gonna go into different reasons why this is true, not just one. So bear with me here, especially if you don't really like the first reason. First of all, people in my $12,000 video called me a lot of things. Chief among them, of course, was liar, I didn't actually do what I said I did, but they also thought that I was corporate shill for Doordash. I don't know, never mind that I, advocated for all 3 of the big apps, so I have really no idea where that comes from. When I published my second video about why this job isn't gonna last forever, they kind of just went the total opposite direction. Chief among them, of course, again, they called me a liar, which, I don't know, people really love that word. In kind of the same vein, there were a lot of people who were saying that I was selfish for one reason or another, either because I was wanting to keep all of the money for myself, or because I was kind of I got mine, Jack, you guys, whatever. It's not important. The point that I'm trying to make here is that everything I'm about to say is the truth, to the best of my knowledge. This isn't for clicks, it's not because I don't care about people. I mean, quite the opposite. I actually want to keep people as informed as they possibly can for them to make their own decisions. I don't care what you ultimately decide. It's not going to affect me in any way. The first thing is that pretty much everything that I predicted in that video and in my second automation video is coming true. You're crazy if you think that Cruise trial in San Francisco hasn't been a massive success. Crazy to think that it won't expand to other cities. Take one look at Aurora and tell me again, that it hasn't gone exactly like it was expected to. And here in the UK, I mean, just yesterday they announced the first buses on streets, not like announced for the future, announced that it happened. They have driverless buses on the street. Just today, the UK announced that they're developing legislation for autonomous vehicles, like to change the rules so that you can watch TV while you're using an autonomous vehicle. And DoorDash's partner Starship has announced that their next robot car, will be able to climb stairs and navigate apartments. That was one of the biggest critiques of my entire commentary last time, was that it can't do that, but they can. When they announce that it's coming soon, that means that they already have something that does it. It doesn't mean like they're developing. It means it's here, it just hasn't been released to the public yet. That's where we are right now. We're not really at an if stage anymore. We're at the how stage. How is this all being laid out? Driverless vehicles are here. They are here to stay. They will continue growing. They will continue getting bigger. When will they completely take over? I don't know exactly, but it's a lot closer than you think. But you don't have to buy into all of that to really know exactly where this is going. I mean, everything else that I've talked about is happening. We're talking about, I don't know if you watched that past video, you might remember a point when I predicted that they would start ghosting drivers, DoorDash, because it's the same thing that Deliveroo does. And I've seen reports of just that happening. I mean, there are people whose livelihoods are being completely destroyed without so much as a notice. A little bit more on that later. We're hiring a lot of people right now, and I have like a whole bunch of interviews strung together right now. So, yeah. So this guy is like 14 minutes late to the interview, which is probably a good opportunity to tell you about the struggles with this. Finding good people is really hard. I've never been like a hiring manager at another company, never really had any direction. I've only ever hired for my own company, but I can tell you that in my experience, you get like 100 applications. You have like maybe 5 of them seem like viable candidates. Maybe 3 of those can work within your parameters. And then like 1 maybe of those 3 ends up being like a long-term employee. And it's just like, I put a lot of time into this. It's more time consuming, more expensive, and more difficult than I probably lead on, than you might even expect. We also give all of our employees very extensive training. And so, you know, they really are like the cream of the crop, I guess. What I've realized in doing this is that, first of all, good people are really hard to find. We found the most success in offering, you know, a complete like suite of training. Like we don't leave it up to their own past experience. We know exactly what we want, and we train them how to do it exactly how we want them to do it. That's what I've been working on a lot lately. Ever since like around January 1st, when we started Little Assistants, we've just been non-stop hiring because we're just growing. Hey man, how you doing? Good to see you, good to hear from you. So can you tell me a little bit more about your writing experience? I see right here that can you please tell me a little bit, like what was your role in this project? If you had to rate your spoken English on a scale of 1 to 10, I mean, what would you call it? So I assume that you've had a pretty good look at the entire job description. Was there any part of it that like really jumps out at you, that makes you feel like this is you, and you've been editing since 2018, you know Premiere Pro and After Effects. Can you tell me, like, do you have any examples of your work that you can send me maybe?
Hello.
Can you hear me? I'm here. Hey Isaac, we can end this phone call. It's okay. I don't mind communicating over email.
Hello.
Can you hear me? No, nothing. Okay, I guess that's it. Hey, Bright, how you doing?
Alright,
Good. Can you hear me okay? All right, let me just pull up everything I've got on you. Give me 1 second. Are they like companies that you've worked for, or did they just hire you to manage their Instagram? Do you still work for them? Like, what's the status? The guy who was 18 minutes late is now over an hour late, and he just sent me an email saying invalid ID, invalid meeting ID. Like, yeah, of course, invalid meeting ID. The meeting doesn't exist anymore. Some people are just completely clueless. Since I've made that video, they've decreased their base pay. they have completely changed their entire pay structure so that it's not in your favor. I'll just put it that way. And while I do believe that there's some money to be made, I think that there's this infatuation with DoorDash as a company, like the company actually cares about you. There's people who defend it like, I don't know. I mean, nobody would defend, you know, General Motors because they really believe in the product or they believe in the working conditions that they create. It just doesn't happen. DoorDash is just a corporation, and the corporation literally only exists for one thing, and that's to increase their revenue and decrease their costs. That's the only thing they're trying to do. The whole gig economy was invented around companies trying to get creative with paying people less, essentially, for the same job. And I know that that works for some people, it works for me. Ultimately, you have to realize it was born out of this need to decrease expenses. They're gonna continue innovating. They're gonna continue doing things that only help DoorDash. A lot of people really don't seem to get it. They don't care about you. They don't care about anything. Now, so many people have told me, and I totally get it, that companies don't care about you. No companies care about you. And traditional jobs, those corporations also don't care about you. And while true, it's absolutely true, for starters, you're right. I'm not arguing that point. But what DoorDash has created, what the gig economy has created, is they have entirely separated themselves from the laws and regulations that are meant to protect you as a worker. They can do whatever they want. Humanity as a whole has never been at a point where an industry just rises up and disappears in a single generation, let alone a couple of decades. But that's exactly what we're seeing. That same innovation, the reason that we have this type of job to begin with, is continuing to evolve without us. Now, I admire DoorDash's innovation. I admire their tenacity. I admire the fact that they're investing in autonomous vehicles, and I look forward to a future where that's reality, where nobody drives anymore, where we all get delivery all the time. I think that that would be better for humanity as a whole, personally. However, I will never work for DoorDash again because I don't need them. I have worked my ass off to outgrow them, to continue building into something bigger. And I don't plan on ever needing them again. I think that we all need to appreciate that a couple of years from now, they're not going to need all of us, if any of us. Us giving them the benefit of that doubt only benefits them, and they know it. I think that that should be every DoorDasher's goal here. DoorDash is not a career. DoorDash is a stepping stone to something bigger. So if you're here and you're watching my channel and you're thinking that you can make a career or that you can make a long-term job out of DoorDash, you're wrong. While you still have the opportunity to make decent money with DoorDash, I implore you to just do everything you can to diversify your income. Work on building something bigger, building something better. So I will tell my daughter tonight that yes, even if we go back to America, which we will, obviously, I will not go back to DoorDash. I'm gonna sound really dumb for saying this, but a lot of you guys have told me that you think that, you know, if and when DoorDash goes down and you can't use it anymore, you can't work it anymore, that there's gonna be something else out there. And you might be right. I don't know, over the last 40 years, as I showed in one of my other videos, inequality has gone up. Wages against cost of living have gone down. Even working hours, total number of hours required to work, has gone up. Everything is worse than it was 40 years ago. Like, everything's getting worse in terms of money and job security, and I'm not trying to say that to scare you. I'm really not. I'm just trying to get those people to face reality. You have to make preparations for the future. And I don't know, I just don't want to be 50, 60 years old in government housing because my gig job that may or may not exist doesn't pay enough to survive. It's like, if we continue down that trajectory, we're going to be working more hours and we're going to be making less money and things are going to be more expensive. That's just the trajectory that we're on. And if you're working the same, you're 60 years old and you're trying to compete with 18-year-olds who work the same job, that just sounds like hell. I mean, honestly, that's like the worst thing in the world. Maybe I'm gonna be really agile 60-year-old, I don't know, but that's not the reality I want to prepare for. Since we started this video off with Colombia week, Monday, first day. Hi. We have to watch Encanto, right? She doesn't care.
Definitely.
Tranquilos, por favor. We have our own
Café.
café. Café es solo para adultos.
Yeah.
What's this called? Movie theater? We have our own movie theater, don't we? Malaya? You're too distracted. Wait, what does the pink one do?
Her power is to make flowers. She did flowers.
How does that work? How does she do it?
I don't know.
Do you know? Can you do it? Try.
No.
Try.
It didn't work.
Flowers! It worked!
No, don't.
Yeah, it did!
Yeah, but just pretend it.
I see new flowers!
I don't see.
No? Does this look like Colombia, Malaya?
Look, she made flowers.
Yeah, she did. You're right. Did you know that Daddy's been to Colombia?
No?
Yeah, Daddy's been to Colombia.
I think... What? I think the strong one.
You think I'm the strong one?
Yes.
You don't think I'm the husband of the mom
No,
with no powers?
The strong one, Daddy.
Okay, I'm definitely the strong one.
And I'm the pink one.
And you're the pink one. Okay, so we're sisters?
Mhm.
Okay, we're sisters. I'm the strong one, she's the pink one. Alright, I guess that's a wrap. Good night. You wanna slap the camera? Slap the camera.
Okay.
No, the lens.
Oh, the lens?
Yeah,
This?
wait, not yet. Okay, do it. Hey, mommy.
Hey, Mommy.
We just learned about all these animals, didn't we, Malaya? There's a jaguar. That's so cool.
We learned about a jaguar.
We did learn about a jaguar today.